Hey guys, it's JL Phoenix, and today's drawing, I wanted to draw something dynamic and dramatic, which also happened to be inspired by another drawing I've done some time back. Without further ado, let's get started. So as soon as I finished another drawing that I was in the process of working on, which was a drawing I did of my character Elgia and Harmony, which will be you guys' first time getting introduced to Harmony, and you will also see that video soon in the future, I immediately wanted to draw a different drawing. Now at the moment, or rather at the time, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to draw, I just knew I wanted to draw something. So after talking with a friend, I immediately got inspired to draw a drawing that was related to another drawing I did sometime back, which was a drawing that I called Drifting in a Dream. And I decided to draw another character that was related to the same thing, but different. So when I started sketching out the drawing of this character, which by the way, her name is Luana, I just knew that I wanted to do something where it's like, it was like I said, the super dramatic, like we're really pushing the the sizes of certain things and stuff. Like I wanted the hand to be like way up in the front, and then like the head kind of sort of in the back, but not completely in the back. So outlining was pretty straightforward. Just like when I got to the part where I was drawing her hair, I was like struggling with trying to do like the little was it spiral curl thing that I was doing, only because I kid you not, just that day when I was drawing it, I was having a hard time really like getting the spiral thing down. It was like my brain just could not connect. Like, hey, how do I normally draw this thing? Like, I just kept trying to fix it over and over again, and eventually I just said, you know what? Forget it. I'm changing her hairstyle. So, unlike with the first Drifting in a Dream drawing, I never intend to make any sort of story out of it, and I still kind of have that same intention here with the second drawing, or shall I say the second part of the Drifting in a Dream drawing. Look, it's so unintentional that I made a second part to this. It just so happened that I made a character that looked like they came from the same universe, and I was just like, oh hey, anyway. But I kind of sort of came up with a little bit of a story for Luana, and by extension May, which is the name of the other character I drew in Drifting in a Dream. I never mentioned her name in that video because of the fact that, again, I was only drawing it just a spur of the moment kind of drawing. And so I kind of pictured Luana being kind of like the leader of this group that I'm calling was it Dream Drifters? That's what I call them for the time being, because obviously it's got to relate to the title of the drawing. Like what else would I call them? But regardless of that, I kind of picture her being the leader of this group and everything, and the drawing itself was supposed to be kind of like a glimpse into like a bit of a fight that was going on. So like we see Luana like having her hand up, and she's like about to do an attack, but yeah, that was as far as I got as far as any sort of story for Luana, and by extension May. Don't really have anything that's like super in depth, but hey, got a little something. So as far as for color choices, I decided to use the color green for this because it was funny, I could only picture her wearing like green for this outfit. So I was just like, you know what, we're gonna have her wear a green suit, and her being the leader wearing green is even cooler. Like it's Power Rangers or something. But I was just like, yeah, let's do that. And then as I kind of picked out colors and stuff, and the funny thing is when I was coloring the suit, I wasn't sure if I wanted to stick with like 2 shades of green, because I was like, well, technically for the previous character that I drew, May, I used it was like a really light purple color, kind of pinkish color for the suit, but it looked like it can pass off as white. And the little shiny parts was like this, was it like a magenta color? I guess we could kind of call it magenta. It's probably not even magenta, it's like something else, but yeah. Regardless, I used that kind of color on the little shiny parts of the suit. But for Luana, I was like, oh, let's just use different shades of green. I could only picture green for this girl. And some gold to keep or yellow to keep with the color theme. Have some pink in there. And the funny thing is that at first I wasn't sure if this would work out, but it did. It did end up working out. Like, a lot of the colors that I picked for Luana actually ended up meshing well together, and I didn't really have to like change anything. Now, another part of her that I actually struggled with like coming up with the color for was for her hair. Like, I was just like, man, I don't know what to color her hair. Then I thought to myself, or rather a thought came to my mind, and I was just like, oh, why don't I color her hair black? And I was like, yeah, I think that'll look even better. Like, it'll look really nice with the colors I have picked. Which it does, by the way. Like, honestly, all the colors that I picked for Luana works really well together. Like, the black and the pinks and the green and the yellow or gold, they all blend perfectly well together. Like, at first when I was picking these colors, I was not sure if they were going to work, but after picking them and going in and shading and all that stuff, it was like, oh, these actually blend really well together. Like, they look pretty nice. After I finished up with most of the coloring and a lot of the top layer shading and stuff, I decided to add in like the shadows and the lighting, to that way I can keep up with the more dramatic kind of feel that I was aiming for with this drawing. So, of course, doing more dramatic shadows in the face, and of course some shadows on the body, so that way we could be like, oh yeah, this is intense. Now, I had also planned on giving Luana a sword too, but I went and sketched it out, and as I was trying to draw it in her hand and everything, I was just like, it's not exactly looking right. I do think that if I had went ahead and like actually drew it, like fully drew it ahead of time along with the outlining and all that stuff, it probably would have looked a little better. Probably would have been able to pose her in a way where the sword would look pretty neat with the pose. But with what I had, I was just like, yeah, it's not working. But I do plan that like maybe next time I would probably, if I ever decide to redraw Luana again, I would definitely draw her with her royalty-free lightsaber. And here's the final result. So this drawing is also kind of like a spur of the moment kind of drawing, similar to the first Drifting in a Dream. It's hilarious how it came about. But I do really appreciate that I was able to use some of the techniques that I learned during my drawing class and do something really, and do a dynamic pose this time. I'm going to end up doing some more dynamic poses in the future. But regardless, I really enjoyed this drawing. I had a whole lot of fun just drawing something that was purely for fun. So anyways, guys, that's all for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think of Luana so far? And also, if you've seen the previous Drifting in a Dream drawing, would you like to see me actually redraw that again, this time with a crossover with Luana? Let me know. I'd like to give a shout out to my Patreon supporters, Zeta787, The Ocean Shock, and Ash Creative 7. Thank you guys for your support, and thank you all for subscribing and being part of the Phoenix fans. Have an amazing day, guys!